The beachfront villa my parents bought for me was given by my husband to his secretary to live in. Lin Chuchu posted a 9-grid collage of a pool party on her social media, along with a location tag. "Thank you, CEO, for the luxurious villa. I will continue to strive forward." In the photos sent by the housekeeper, the garden sculptures were smashed, and all the flowers I planted were uprooted. I directly sent the photo to Jiyu Chungza. "What do you mean, Mr. Jiyu? Why is someone else in my villa?" Jiyu Chungza replied instantly with a voice message, with the sound of waves in the background. "Don't be so stingy. It's not like we're short of places to stay. I want her gone and the villa restored to its original state within 3 hours." Jiyu Chungza read the message but didn't reply. 5 minutes later, "I auctioned off the villa for 1 yuan. His antique collection was smashed to pieces by me. Since someone won't listen, I don't mind teaching them a lesson." Just as I put down my phone, the ringtone went off. It was Jiyu Chungza, who had read but not replied earlier. "Mu Wanqing, what exactly did you do? Why was Lin Chuchu kicked out by security?" Jiyu Chungza's voice was filled with obvious anger. My tone remained calm. "That villa was mine, I just sold it. The new owner's only requirement is to clear out all people and belongings inside within 1 hour." The other end of the phone fell silent for a few seconds. "Wanqing, have you misunderstood something?" Chapter 2. "There's nothing between me and Lin Chuchu. She's just my secretary." Jiyu Chungza's tone softened a bit. "Don't you think your approach is too aggressive, and a bit too sensitive?" I couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Jiyu Chungza, it's clearly you who doesn't know how to avoid impropriety or maintain personal integrity. How dare you turn around and blame me?" Jiyu Chungza did not respond to the question, skillfully changing the subject. "Wanqing, you still have so many villas under your name. Leaving them idle is a waste. I was just making reasonable use of the resources. Lin Chuchu and I really didn't do anything inappropriate." He paused, his voice growing somewhat impatient. "Don't be so stingy." I curled my lips into a smile, but my eyes turned cold. "Since President Jiyu is so generous, I suppose you wouldn't mind if your precious treasures turned into a pile of junk." With that, I opened the photo album, selected a few pictures, and sent them over. In the photo, the antique that Jiyu Chungza had treasured for years was smashed to pieces, with fragments scattered all over the floor. The other end of the phone was silent for a few seconds. "Mu Wanqing," he enunciated my full name, syllable by syllable. I know, this is his expression of extreme anger, but I didn't care. "Jiyu Chungza, you must have seen the photos by now. This is the price you pay for trying to challenge my limits. If you dare to cross the line like this again in the future, what you'll lose will be far more than these worthless things." Chapter 3. With that, I hung up the phone directly. Over these years of marriage, we've rarely had intense arguments, but this doesn't mean I would back down out of fear of conflict. Once you start compromising on your bottom line in marriage, it only invites the other party to push their advantage. Moreover, this marriage wasn't even founded on pure love to begin with. Back then, the Jiyu family was eager to break into the core circles of Beijing's elite and needed the support of our Mu family, which led to this business marriage alliance. When we first met, Jiyu Chungza did display his thoughtfulness and gentleness. Moreover, his strikingly handsome face was quite deceptive, and he handled affairs meticulously and appropriately. At the time, I thought perhaps sharing a life with someone like him wouldn't be too bad, so I didn't oppose the family's arrangement. Fortunately, as we spent time together after marriage, affection gradually grew between us. We also shared quite sweet moments together. Once considered by outsiders as a perfect match, a talented man and a beautiful woman. However, at every stage, I remained clear-headed about prioritizing myself. Later, the passion faded, and life settled into stability. I can understand and accept that all emotions will eventually fade into blandness, even dissipate. But I will never allow the reason for this dissipation to be the interference of a third party. Since childhood, the thing I've detested the most is others touching my belongings. If an item gets dirty, I won't hesitate to throw it away. Chapter 4. If a person becomes dirty, the way to deal with it is the same. Jiyu Chungza never contacted me again. He has always been like this. Once his mistakes are exposed, he chooses silence to escape. Until that afternoon, when Weiwei's message popped up on my phone. "Wanqing, why are you ignoring me? I saw you inside just now, called you for ages but got no response. I frowned slightly and quickly replied, I haven't gone out today. You must have mistaken me for someone else. Are you sure it wasn't you? I saw that sapphire blue mermaid dress you had custom-made before, along with your Mr. Gu Wanching. Wait, I got a clear shot of her face. A photo quickly popped up on the phone. Gu Chungza was dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit, and Lin Chuchu stood beside him, wearing my haute couture gown, smiling as she chatted with someone. I stared at the photo for a full 10 seconds. Before I could react, another message popped up on my phone. This time it was Gu Chungza's chief assistant, accompanied by a screenshot. It was Lin Chuchu's social media post. First time attending the Genting auction. Thank you President Gu for showing me the world. Finally got to see what real high society looks like. Heart, JPG. The accompanying picture shows her sitting in the front row seat at the auction, with Gu Chungza beside her, the corners of his lips slightly upturned, clearly giving silent approval to her selfie and caption. Suddenly, I remembered something. Gu Chungza hates being photographed more than anything. Chapter 5. Even during the sweetest moments of our relationship, whenever I wanted to take a couple's photo, he would frown and refuse. Seems like my punishment this morning was still too lenient. Not only did he dare to bring another woman to the most exclusive auction in high society, but he also let her wear my dress and tacitly allowed her to post their photo together on social media to show off. I immediately forwarded the photo to Gu Chungza. Care to explain why my dress is on her? The message was marked as read, but there was no reply. A few minutes later, I took a photo and sent it over. Vivi's message popped up immediately after. Wanching, what did you send to President Gu? He suddenly stood up and rushed out just now. Lin Chuchu couldn't even hold him back. I didn't reply to my best friend because Gu Chungza's call was already coming through. In the photo, I'm sitting in front of the fireplace, holding a finely crafted small wooden box in my hands. The surface of the box is spotless, clearly well maintained and frequently polished. Wanching, put that down. Gu Chungza's voice trembled slightly, carrying obvious panic and anger. What do you want to do? Inside the wooden box were some carefully preserved items, a few yellowed photographs, a bracelet, and an exquisite jade pendant. The girl in the photo had a radiant smile. These belonged to Gu Chungza's first love, his white moonlight, who had passed away from illness. The Gu family had mentioned her inadvertently before. Chapter 6. Suddenly, I understood the reason behind Gu Chungza's recent unusual behavior. Lin Chuchu bore a striking resemblance to his white moonlight, about 70 to 80% alike. Wanching, don't touch those things. Gu Chungza's voice was almost pleading. Gu Chungza, you know I've always hated it when others touch my things. It's just like how you're feeling right now. Now. Immediately have Lin Chuchu take off the dress she's wearing. There's a lounge at the auction venue. Make her change there. There was silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Wanching, don't all those dresses of yours get worn only once? What's the harm in letting her wear something you don't want anymore? I chuckled lightly, but my tone grew even colder. Gu Chungza, what's mine? Even if I no longer want it, I won't allow others to touch. You now have two choices. Either have Lin Chuchu take off that dress before the auction begins, or, I shook the box in my hand, and the items inside made faint clinking sounds. Bear the consequences yourself. With that, I hung up the phone directly. In the following moments, Weiwei's messages kept popping up. Wanching, what did you just say to him? You're Mr. Gu rushed in with a deathly pale face and dragged Lin Chuchu out without saying a word. Wait, they're coming back. Oh my god, what's going on? Lin Chuchu is wearing a janitor's uniform. I curled my lips. This outcome was even better than I had anticipated. Chapter 7. Wanching, Lin Chuchu's expression. Oh my god, it couldn't have been more dramatic. Everyone was watching them whisper to each other. I was getting second-hand embarrassment. Vivi, snap a few photos for me. Vivi quickly sent over several pictures. In the photo, Gu Chungza sat expressionless. Meanwhile, Lin Chuchu was wearing an ill-fitting grey work uniform. Her makeup smudged, eyes red and swollen. This auction has extremely high standards, and leaving midway is not allowed. That girl has to sit through the entire event in her janitor's outfit. Vivi's tone carried a hint of schadenfreude. You're Mr. Goo's face has turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Wanching. That move of yours was absolutely ruthless. And Lin Chuchu too. Who did she think she was provoking? She actually dared to mess with you, in the end. She probably won't even know how she died. After the auction ended, Weiwei sent another message. When they left, your husband's face had turned as purple as liver, and Lin Chuchu was crying so hard she could barely catch her breath. Vivi sent over new photos. That sapphire blue fishtail dress was now discarded in the trash. Wanching, it's done. I immediately posted the photo on my social media with a simple caption. Trash belongs in the trash can. Within 5 minutes. The likes had surpassed 100. Anyone with half a brain could tell that the dress in the trash can was the very same one Lin Chuchu had been flaunting on her social media. Chapter 8. My meaning goes without saying. Wanching, Mr. Gu lost all face today. Won't he take it out on you when he gets home? I replied leisurely. Don't worry, even if you gave him a few more guts, he wouldn't dare. In the evening, when Jiu Changza returned, he walked up to me with an extremely oppressive aura. Mu Wanching, where are my things? He spoke, his voice hoarse. I just stared at him quietly, saying nothing. Jiu Changza struggled to suppress his emotions. Wanching, I admit my behavior today was inappropriate. I failed to consider your feelings, and that's my fault, but I've already done as you asked. Losing all dignity in front of everyone. Can we stop this now? Please give me back my things. I raised an eyebrow. Jiu Changza, the loss of your dignity is due to your own misconduct. Not because of me. Aren't you going to explain what happened today? Jiu Changza avoids my gaze. We have a purely professional superior-subordinate relationship. I was merely rewarding Lin Chuchu for her excellent work performance. I let out a cold laugh, pressing forward step by step. Jiu Changza, there are so many ways to reward someone. Why did you have to choose the worst one? Luxury villas, auction houses, exorbitant dresses. What do these symbolize for an ordinary girl? You know perfectly well, you wouldn't even take a couple photo with me, yet you were willing to appear in one with her. Chapter 9. Every time you indulge her, you're giving her positive reinforcement. That's why she's becoming more and more brazen, even daring to provoke me now. Moreover, with her barely adequate work performance, does she really deserve your rewards? Jiu Changza remained silent. Your favoritism towards her is simply because she resembles your white moonlight, isn't it? I bluntly exposed his thoughts, but a substitute will always remain a substitute. She can never become that person. Jiu Changza, you need to understand the difference. His breathing grew somewhat heavier, yet he remained silent. I took out the small wooden box from behind me and handed it to him. Softening my tone, RZE, I understand your obsession with her, and I never intended to ruin the beauty between you two, but I hope you won't ruin the beauty between us either. What happened today is the first time, and it must also be the last. Jiu Changza took the small wooden box and placed it aside, then hugged me tightly. Wanching, I'm sorry. His voice was hoarse. I truly know I was wrong. I really don't have any other relationship with Lin Chuchu. I'll definitely stay far away from her in the future. Something like today will never happen again. Please don't be angry anymore, okay? His voice carried a plea as his arms tightly encircled my waist. I let out a soft sigh and ultimately chose to compromise. She immediately raised her head and bit his lip hard. Chapter 10. Only when blood seeped from the corner of his mouth did I release him with satisfaction. This is the consequence of offending me. Remember, there must never be a next time, okay? Jiu Changza showed no impatience, his eyes burning with intensity. He lifted me by the waist and carried me into the room, after a night of open-hearted conversation. Most of my resentment had dissipated. The next day, the auction incident and my pointed WeChat post made Lin Chuchu the laughingstock of the entire company. Jiu Changza's obvious and deliberate distancing from her further set the tone for everyone else. The company is never short of snobs who fawn on those above and trample on those below. Colleagues who were fawning over her just the day before would consider it merciful not to kick her while she's down today. Some even posted numerous photos of Lin Chuchu wearing janitorial clothes at the auction on the company bulletin board. In the photos, Lin Chuchu's eyes were swollen and red, looking utterly disheveled. Some people even pointed at Lin Chuchu openly as they passed by. That shameless woman wears clothes discarded by the CEO's wife. Lin Chuchu's days at the company became increasingly unbearable. The cafeteria staff would tamper with her food, and she often turned pale after just one bite. When she went to the restroom, the door suddenly locked, trapping her inside for the entire afternoon. The most ridiculous part was that everyone pretended nothing had happened that day. Her distress call to Jiyu Changza was also directly hung up. Chapter 11. I heard about these incidents from the chief assistant, Mr. Mu. Should I step in to intervene? I shook my head. Assistant Lee, don't overestimate my mercy, nor underestimate her ambition. Since she chose this path, she must bear the corresponding consequences. A week later, the executive assistant informed me that Lin Chuchu hadn't shown up for work for 3 consecutive days. I thought she was finally unable to hold on and was about to resign, but it turns out I had underestimated her. That day, Jiyu Changza had an extremely important cross-border negotiation for cooperation, a project worth at least $100 million. 20 minutes before the negotiation, Jiyu Changza's phone rang. It was Lin Chuchu calling. He expressionlessly pressed the end call button, but immediately after, she sent him a message. President Jiyu, I'm sorry to disturb you at this final moment. I had hoped to thank you in person, but it seems fate has brought us to this point. Thank you for your trust and guidance. Meeting you has been the greatest fortune of my life. I will repay your kindness in my next lifetime. Jiyu Changza's face instantly turned deathly pale. He hurriedly called back, but no one answered. In desperation, he summoned his assistant to locate Lin Chuchu's position using the tracking system. Postpone today's negotiation. With those words, he rushed out without a second thought. When Jiyu Changza arrived at Lin Chuchu's apartment, he found her unconscious in the bathtub. Blood was continuously seeping from the wound on her left wrist, staining the entire bathwater red. Chapter 12. Her face was as pale as paper, her breathing faint. Jiyu Changza, frantic with fear, carried her out and rushed her to the hospital for emergency treatment. It is said that on the way, Lin Chuchu's body gradually grew cold, reminding him of the day his beloved passed away in his arms. Fortunately, she was rushed to the hospital in time, and Lin Chuchu was eventually revived. Jiyu Changza fell into a rage after learning about the various instances of bullying Lin Chuchu had recently endured at the company. But at that time, I knew nothing of this. I happened to be at the same hospital for my prenatal checkup. The test results showed I was 6 weeks pregnant. I couldn't wait to share the good news with Jiyu Changza. Just then, I saw him stepping out of the elevator and joyfully rushed to meet him. I was just about to speak when Jiyu Changza slapped me hard across the face. I lost my balance and fell straight to the ground. My cheek burned with pain, and I was completely stunned by the blow. In all these years of marriage, he had never laid a hand on me. Mu Wanqing, how could you be so vicious? Jiyu Changza looked down at me, his eyes filled with anger and disgust. I've already kept my distance from Lin Chuchu as you demanded. Do you have to drive her to death before you're satisfied? I looked at him in confusion. She's already hospitalized. What are you here for with that big smile on your face? Are you trying to drive her to suicide again? How could I have married such a venomous woman like you? Clutching the prenatal checkup report in my hand, I wanted to explain. Chapter 13. He didn't even glance at me on the ground before turning and walking away. Watching his retreating figure, I barely managed to piece together the truth from the words Jiyu Changza had cursed me with. Lin Chuchu had committed suicide, and Jiyu Changza believed I was the one who drove her to it. Shortly after, I received a call from the chief assistant. Mr. Mu, I'm calling to say goodbye. Mr. Jiyu just fired me on the grounds of abusing my authority, and he appointed Secretary Lin to take over my position. What? It's not just me. Almost all employees who've ever had conflicts with Secretary Lin were also fired. Nearly everyone, as I was filled with anticipation for the arrival of our child. Jiyu Changza made his stance clear in the most forceful way. He chose Lin Chuchu. Hanging up the phone, I was consumed by rage and tore the prenatal checkup report in my hand to shreds. I clenched my fists so tightly that my nails dug deep into my palms, blood seeping out and dripping to the floor. I forced myself to calm down. Jiyu Changza, since you've gone to such extremes, don't blame me for being ruthless. The consequences of crossing me are not something you can bear. Chapter 14. I packed my things directly and went back to my own home. Father learned that I was coming home to stay, but didn't ask much, just quietly had the housekeeper tidy up my bedroom. Mother, however, keenly sensed that something was wrong. Wanching, did you quarrel with Changza? She sat by my bedside and asked softly. I shook my head without answering. The bruise on my wrist was exposed, left from a fall at the hospital. What happened here? Mother grabbed my wrist, her brow furrowed. It's nothing. Just an accidental bump. I didn't tell them about Jiyu Changza hitting me, nor did I mention Lin Chuchu. I just said I wanted to go home and rest for a few days to adjust my state of mind. But those matters, my parents would know everything with just a little investigation. For half a month, Jiyu Changza didn't make a single call or send a single text message. The Cold War and mutual silence eroded the last remnants of warmth between us. On social media, I saw Lin Chuchu flaunting photos of her and Jiyu Changza attending various events. Every carefully chosen angle seemed to declare her imminent status as Mrs. Jiyu. President Jiyu took me to the International Business Summit today, and so many people thought I was his wife. Thank you, President Jiyu. For the limited edition bag, as expected, only the one who knows me best understands what I like. President Jiyu says I'm his lucky star. Today we closed another major deal. Chapter 15, post after post. Each accompanied by intimate photos of her and Jiyu Changza. She did it on purpose, knowing full well I'd see it. I let out a light chuckle and turned off my phone, like a grasshopper in late autumn. It won't be hopping much longer. 2 weeks later, under my arrangements and led by my father, the Jiyu family's major shareholders collectively withdrew their investments. Jiyu family's stock hit the daily limit down for several consecutive days. On the third day of limit down, Jiyu family's elderly parents came knocking. Wanching, how have you been lately? Madam Jiyu held my hand, her face full of concern. It's fine, I responded indifferently, pouring them tea. Why did you suddenly come back to stay at your parents' house? Changza said you weren't feeling well, and we were all worried about you. Mother Jiyu asked tentatively. Jiyu Changza didn't even bother to call. And now he's sending his parents to fish for information. My precious daughter is in perfect health, just feeling a bit down lately. My father suddenly spoke up, his tone icy. Mr. and Mrs. Jiyu froze, exchanging glances. What's wrong? Did that Changza boy upset Wanching? Father Jiyu frowned and asked. The father sneered and slammed the teacup onto the table. The upbringing of the Jiyu family is truly eye-opening. Mr. and Mrs. Gu's expressions changed dramatically. Father recounted every detail of recent events to them, word by word, how Jiyu Changza had arranged Lin Chuchu to stay in my seaside villa, and how he had allowed Lin Chuchu to provoke me. Chapter 16, and how, in the hospital, Jiyu Changza had blamed all the mistakes on me without even asking for the full story. Your son has already dealt with all the employees in the company who had conflicts with that woman. This is the Jiyu family's good son, showing such attitude towards his lawful wife. The father said coldly. The faces of Mr. and Mrs. Jiyu turned from pale to livid, then from livid back to pale. How is this possible? Mother Jiyu looked at me incredulously. Changza isn't that kind of person. Facts speak louder than words. I spoke calmly. Father Jiyu angrily dialed Jiyu Changza's number. Get your ass over here right now, you unfilial son. How could you do such a thing? You've disgraced the entire Jiyu family. Mr. Jiyu abruptly hung up the phone, then turned to me and my father. Repeatedly apologizing. I'm sorry, we failed in raising our son properly. We will definitely give Wanching a proper explanation for this matter. What kind of explanation could Jiyu Changza possibly give me? Would it be falsely telling me that I'm far more important to him than Lin Chuchu? Just tell me honestly, did he regret this marriage long ago? Either way, I don't need it. I got up and returned to the room, taking out the divorce documents. Today, let this farce come to a complete end, soon. The door was pushed open, and Jiyu Changza walked in. To my astonishment, Lin Chuchu actually followed him in. Chapter 17. She hid behind Jiyu Changza, looking pitiful and vulnerable. My parents' expressions, which had slightly softened due to the apologies from Gu's parents, instantly darkened again. Jiyu Changza is truly beyond stupid to dare bring her to my house at a time like this. Father Jiyu rushed up to him and slapped him across the face without hesitation. You unfilial son. How dare you bring this woman here? Ji Chung's face immediately swelled red from the blow. He clearly didn't expect his father to hit him in public, freezing in shock. Dad, let me explain. Explanation for what? Another heavy slap landed on the other side of his face. You've completely disgraced our Ji family. Ji Chung's was beaten in front of Lin Chuchu. His dignity completely shattered. He was about to retort when Gu's father had already raised his leg and kicked at him, unexpectedly. Lin Chuchu rushed over and stood in front of Ji Chung's, taking the kick for him. Ah, she cried out in pain, falling to the ground, clutching her injured leg, her face pale as tears immediately welled up in her eyes. Mother Ji trembled with rage at her exaggerated display. You shameless wretch. Still pretending to be pitiful at this point, Mother Ji rushed forward to strike her, but Ji Chung's swiftly pulled Lin Chuchu into his arms, watching this entertaining spectacle. I couldn't help but laugh and softly clapped my hands. What a pair of devoted lovers. Ji Chung's looked up at me, his eyes filled with anger. Chapter 18. Mu Wanqing, you venomous woman, don't you dare slander my relationship with Chuchu here. We are innocent. There has been no improper contact whatsoever. He shielded Lin Chuchu tightly. I'm just atoning for your previous excessive behavior. At these words, my father suddenly stood up, furious. How has my daughter been excessive, Mr. Ji slapped Ji Chung's across the face again. Shut up. One more word and I'll break your legs. Mr. Ji turned around and gave me an apologetic smile, speaking in a gentle tone. Wanqing, we will definitely give you a satisfactory resolution to this matter. I stood up, glanced around, and finally fixed my gaze on Ji Chung's. Since both families are present today, everyone has witnessed Ji Chung's choice. There's no need to maintain this marriage any further at this point. I took out the divorce agreement I had prepared long ago. I've already drafted and signed the divorce agreement. The assets will be divided according to the prenuptial agreement. Upon hearing about our divorce, Lin Chuchu's pained expression instantly vanished, replaced by a look of triumph in her eyes. Just moments ago, she was wailing on the ground, but now she's full of energy. Ji Chung's abruptly shook off Lin Chuchu's hand and strode toward me, his face filled with disbelief. You can't divorce me, Wanqing, and why not? I raised an eyebrow slightly. Chapter 19. You held another woman in your arms, shielding her protectively, and now you're telling me we can't divorce. I've told you, Chuchu and I really are just ordinary boss-subordinate relationship, Ji Chung's defended. Ji Chung's, I don't care what kind of relationship you have with Lin Chuchu. All I know is, you've already chosen her, not me. In that case, there's no need for us to continue. I looked at him and spoke word by word. Ji Chung's, remember when we first got married, I made it clear to you, I absolutely hate it when others touch my things, and you, time and again, have crossed the line. How many chances have I given you? Which one did you ever cherish? Things that get dirty should be thrown away. And so should people. I looked straight into his eyes. Ji Chung's, I don't want you anymore. Ji Chung's face instantly turned deathly pale. I picked up the divorce papers and handed them to him. The assets will be divided according to the prenuptial agreement, which is very fair to you. Ji Chung's did not respond. Wanqing, I won't sign it. You're just acting out of anger right now. At that moment, my father stood up. Mr. Ji, if we can divorce amicably, future cooperation is still possible. Otherwise, all talks are off. The Ji group is already at the end of its rope if the cooperation truly falls apart. The losses would be immeasurable. After a moment of contemplation, old Mr. Ji finally shot a fierce glare at Ji Chung's. Chapter 20. Sign. Under their parents' coercion, Ji Chung's finally signed the document. Ji Chung's and I were officially divorced. Lin Chuchu stood by, unable to conceal the triumph in her eyes. I met her gaze and smiled slightly. Lin Chuchu, congratulations on your successful rise to power. This sentence made the Ji parents explode on the spot. You vile woman. Gu's mother grabbed Lin Chuchu's hair, her voice trembling with emotion. It's all your fault. I called for the butler. See our guest out. At that moment, my family's nanny walked in carrying a bowl of medicine. Miss, the pregnancy-preserving soup is ready. Drink it while it's hot. Everyone in the Ji family was stunned. Wanqing, You're pregnant. Ji Chung's voice was hoarse beyond recognition. I took the bowl from the nanny's hand, finished drinking, and then looked at Ji Chung's. Last month, on the day you hit me in the hospital, I was actually going to share this good news with you, but you wouldn't even listen to a single word I had to say, I said calmly. Ji Chung's lips trembled, unable to speak. From that day on, you forever lost the chance to be this child's father. Upon hearing this, my father's expression changed drastically. What? He dared to hit you? Father rushed to Ji Chung's in a few quick steps and punched him in the face. Ji Chung's staggered back but did not fight back. You beast! How dare you hit my daughter? And while she's pregnant. Chapter 21. Father roared in anger. Ji Chung's mouth was bleeding from the beating, yet he just stared blankly at me, his eyes filled with pain and regret. Wanching, he murmured my name, his voice filled with pleading. Give me one more chance, just one, please, opportunity. I let out a cold laugh. Haven't I given you enough chances already? Ji Chung's instantly broke down, falling to his knees. Butler, see the guests out. The butler unceremoniously asked the Ji family to leave. Mr. Ji pulled up the mentally collapsed Ji Chung's, while Mrs. Ji grabbed Lin Chuchu by the hair and pushed her toward the door. The Ji group ultimately avoided the fate of bankruptcy, but the impact of the divorce could not be erased. In just a few weeks, the company's stock price plummeted by nearly 40%, multiple partners terminated projects, and over a dozen core investors withdrew their funding one after another. Ji Chung's was no longer the decisive and swift-moving CEO in the business world. He shut himself in the villa all day, with liquor bottles scattered around the room. Alcohol became his refuge, and his moments of sobriety were pitifully few. Lin Chuchu was unwilling to give up the hard-earned opportunity and would go to the villa every day to take care of him. She tidied the room, made him hangover soup, and even carefully wiped his body when Ji Chung's was too drunk to wake up. Mr. Ji, have some water. Lin Chuchu held a glass of water. Ji Chung's raised his bloodshot eyes, his gaze focusing for a moment before sinking back into confusion. Chapter 22. Sia, is that you coming back? He reached out to touch Lin Chuchu's cheek. Lin Chuchu froze. This was already the 17th time. 17 times. Ji Chung's had mistaken her for his deceased white moonlight. I'm not Sia, I'm Chuchu. Lin Chuchu, suppressing the bitterness in her heart, she softly reminded him. Ji Chung's seemed not to hear. Continuing to speak to himself. Sia, please don't leave again this time. Enough, Lin Chuchu screamed, the water cup crashing heavily to the ground, shards scattering everywhere. Startled by the noise, Ji Chung's trembled and looked at her in confusion. I'm such a fool. Lin Chuchu's voice trembled. How could I have fallen for someone like you? A man who only sees me as someone else. You deserve this. All of this is your own doing. Lin Chuchu finally erupted, the long-suppressed grievances and jealousy surging forth. You have a wife you don't cherish, now reduced to this state, still thinking about your damn white moonlight. Ji Chung's gaze suddenly turned sharp, the drunkenness in his eyes dissipating by more than half. For so many days, it was the first time he had completely sobered up. Lin Chuchu, I won't allow you to speak of her like that. Get out. Lin Chuchu let out a cold laugh. You're still defending her. Do you know she never actually died? Ji Chung's froze completely. What nonsense are you talking? Chapter 23. Nonsense. Let me tell you, she's not dead at all. She took your parents' money and faked her death. She even left a suicide note asking you to keep supporting her useless boyfriend's company. Lin Chuchu screamed hysterically. Ji Chung's suddenly grabbed her by the throat and pinned her against the wall. Shut up, she struggled, her face gradually turning purple. Ji Chung's released his grip, and Lin Chuchu collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. How do you think I knew all those details between you two? It was her who came to me. She felt that just relying on you to support her boyfriend wasn't enough. She wanted more, so she came to me, helped me rise to power, to seek more benefits. Ji Chung's face turned deathly pale, his body swaying unsteadily. Impossible. Sia is already dead. Lin Chuchu sneered with a mocking smile. Go ask your parents. Ask them if they really gave Sia 50 million. After making the call to verify, Ji Chung's collapsed onto the ground. The call was brief, But it was enough to shatter him. The father remained silent for too long, his words of rebuttal too feeble. Because of you two viper-hearted women, you actually harmed Wanqing, he muttered to himself, his voice utterly broken. Lin Chuchu burst into laughter at the sight of his breakdown. Jiyu Changza, you can't blame anyone else. It was you who pushed away the person who loved you the most. Chapter 24. Jiyu Changza suddenly looked up. Get out, never let me see you again. Jiyu Changza returned to the company and convened an emergency board meeting, decisively severing ties with several problematic partners. 3 days later, the once glorious Jiaheng Technology declared bankruptcy, and its founder Huang Jiaheng was taken away by police for investigation on suspicion of financial fraud. This was the company founded by Xie's boyfriend, and also the enterprise Jiyu Changza had been secretly supporting all along. At the same time, Lin Chuchu received a text message from an unfamiliar number. I know it was you who betrayed me. As the night grew darker, Lin Chuchu quickened her pace, feeling as if someone was following her. She turned into a narrow alley, trying to take a shortcut home. Early the next morning, the front page of the morning newspaper carried a piece of news. 2 female bodies were found in an alley, with the police preliminarily determining it as a case of mutual killing. Jiyu Changza looked at the newspaper, his gaze resting on the 2 names, Lin Chuchu, Xie. Time flew by. Mu Tiantian is almost 1 year old now. Her little face is round and adorable, with eyes like mine and a nose like Jiyu Changza's. Every time I see her cute sleeping face, I can't help but kiss her little cheeks. We named her Tiantian, in the hope that she would have a peaceful, joyful, and carefree life. Mom, Tiantian learned a new word today. I held my daughter and excitedly said to my mother, who had just returned from the garden. Chapter 25. Mother put down the scissors, reached out to take Tiantian, her face full of pride. Our Tiantian is the smartest. Come on, call me Grandma. Grandma, Tiantian called out in her sweet, childish voice, making her mother burst into laughter. After my parents retired and handed the company over to me, their greatest joy every day was spending time with their granddaughter. Jiyu Changza had visited many times, kneeling and begging for reconciliation. Each time, I turned him down. The damage has been done. Some things cannot be undone even with an apology. Wanqing, the old master of the Jiyu family, called again. Father said. I shake my head. Dad, rules are rules. They can't visit until Tiantian turns 3. 3 years passed quickly. Tiantian has grown into a clever and lively little girl, with a stubborn personality just like mine. When she met the elderly couple from the Jiyu family for the first time, she obediently called them Grandpa and Grandma, moving the old couple to tears. Jiyu Changza stood nearby, his eyes filled with anticipation. Tiantian, I'm your dad. Tiantian tilted her little head and looked at him earnestly. Mom said that if you make a mistake, you should be punished. You made Mom sad, so I can't call you Dad. The room fell into complete silence. Jiyu Changza crouched down, trying to meet his daughter at eye level. Daddy knows he was wrong. Daddy regrets it very much. Regret won't help, Tiantian said with a serious yet childish voice. Mom said, some things once they happen, there's no medicine for regret. Jiyu Changza looked up at me, his eyes filled with pain and remorse. I looked at him, smiled faintly, and said nothing. He once had the chance to have a complete and happy family, but he shattered that opportunity with his own hands. Now, my career is thriving, I have a lovely daughter, and parents who adore me. Life is fulfilling and beautiful. No one is indispensable to another. Jiyu Changza visits Tiantian every day. Every time before leaving, he stands in the yard, gazing at us in the living room from afar. I know what he's thinking. If time could flow backward, he would definitely make a different choice. But life has no ifs, and everyone must take responsibility for their own choices. As for me, I don't need belated apologies or anyone's guilt.